pointed and made it. And we have a fantastic show for you. Our first guest is a board-certified internist and hypertension specialist, assistant professor of medicine at the New York University School of Medicine. He has a strong track record in creating community-based programs and interventions to improve health care delivery in black men. And his latest project focuses on improving hypertension and colon cancer screenings among black men in barbershops. That's right, barbershops, churches in New York City area. And here to tell us more is Dr. Joseph Ravenell. Doctor, we welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Right. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Now, you're doing this in barbershops. So what's the reason for that?
Yes. So we know from lots of research that men are less likely to utilize primary health care services than women. But one thing we know is that men go to the barbershop to get their hair cut.
Yeah.
And so we thought that would be a terrific place to do health promotion, to team up with barbers who are very much respected in our community.
And they go to church.
Absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely.
So these are the places where you can reach people and create the awareness.
That's right, that's right.
Why is this so prevalent in our communities?
So that is
to African Americans.
That's right. So that is an excellent question. And so there are several reasons, but one is that in our community, it seems that there is a higher prevalence of what we call adverse lifestyle behaviors. And that includes things like high sodium diets, physical inactivity, and not enough fruits and vegetables.
So these are some of the things that contribute to hypertension.
Absolutely. These are some of the things that definitely cause hypertension and also make hypertension worse.
And some of the things we can do to curb that?
So there are several things we can do. One is to simply decrease salt or sodium in our diet. There are several places in our diets where salt kind of hides that we're not always aware of. And one of those places is canned foods, also in prepared meats, and any time that you eat out at a restaurant, you can bank on it having lots of salt.
Yeah, because you don't know who's doing what back there.
That's right, that's right.
Sometimes it comes out bland, though, in some of the places that you go to.
Yes.
But somebody will pick up that salt and pepper shaker. And
that's right. And so to the extent that we can avoid using the salt shaker and prepare meals at home, we really can control how much sodium goes into our food.
Miriam Scott prepares her meals well. She uses the proper ingredients and she does it just right. Tastes very tasty and nutritious too.
That's right, that's right.
So some beautiful tips because a lot of people, we have something called childhood obesity.
Yes.
And people are cooking for these children. So what advice would you give to parents or schools who are preparing these meals for our youngsters?
So everyone really should try to have a daily sodium intake of less than 2,400 milligrams. And so when you look at the back of a package or the back of a can, you can actually see how much sodium is in there.
Yeah.
And so really try to take note of how much sodium is in the foods that we are preparing for ourselves and for our children.
Is there a way to take salt out of foods before we serve them?
So the best way is to simply be careful with how much salt you add. But one way that we can still make the food flavorful is to add other spices that don't have sodium.
Yeah.
Pepper, garlic, other herbs and spices like that.
Let's be clear for a lot of the people that are watching us right now. Hypertension is a big problem. And what sort of problems come along with hypertension?
So hypertension is one of the major contributors to heart disease, the #1 killer for all Americans, but particularly for blacks. And so the reason that hypertension, that we really try to treat it and control it, is because strokes, heart attacks, and end-stage kidney disease requiring dialysis really are the consequences that we're trying to avoid.
Yeah. So after getting a problem like that, like hypertension and obesity, and all those major things that come along with hypertension, if a person has it, they shouldn't give up.
That's right.
You should continue to take your medications and maybe get on a diet
Yes.
And maybe an exercise program?
So that's an excellent point, Dr. Bob. Once you have hypertension, it's not a death sentence. We can control it, and by controlling it, we can avoid those consequences that we talked about: stroke, heart attack, and end-stage kidney disease.
Yeah.
And we can do that by changing our diets, by increasing physical activity, and by taking prescribed medications when it's necessary.
What are some of those prescribed medications that people are taking?
So there are several different classes of medications, and they all do one of two things. They either relax your blood vessels, or they get rid of extra salt and extra water in our bodies. And so there are things called water pills that are very effective, things called beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, and there are hundreds of these medications. And so if you're having trouble with any one of these, talk to your doctor, because we can definitely find one that works for you and that is affordable for you.
If I came to your office and you gave me an examination and you looked down and you saw my ankles were swollen, what's the problem?
So it could be a couple of different problems, but the things that I would be concerned about are problems with your heart, something that we call congestive heart failure. And that really is a consequence of uncontrolled high blood pressure. And so in addition to giving you medications to decrease your blood pressure, I would also give you a water pill to help to get rid of some of that extra fluid.
If it's not Valentine's Day, or I haven't been with someone that I love, and I come to your office and my heart is skipping a beat, what's the problem?
So that can be what we call an arrhythmia.
I'm not in love. Okay, I can be in love.
And that too can be due to uncontrolled high blood pressure. And so, as you can see, there can be lots of consequences for your heart from high blood pressure. But the key really is to control it the best we can with lifestyle changes and with medications when they're necessary.
Hypertension can also cause stroke.
Absolutely.
There are two types of stroke.
Yes. Yes. So there are two types of strokes. One is what we call an ischemic stroke. The other is a hemorrhagic stroke. And both of those things are caused by high blood pressure. And so controlling high blood pressure really is the key.
Yeah. So, but one is a bleed out and one is a blockage?
That's right. That's right. One is a bleed out and one is a blockage. And really the way to reduce our chances of having both of those is really to control high blood pressure and also do other things like control cholesterol.
Yeah. So we want to create the awareness. We want to let people know that this is going on, that we have these screenings.
Yes.
What are we doing at the barbershops and churches?
So we have a project that is funded by the Centers for Disease Control as well as the National Institutes of Health. And we are at barbershops and churches for the next year and a half. We're actually trying to reach over 1,400 men. And so we are looking to expand from Harlem, where we currently are, to the Bronx, where we know that there are lots of churches and lots of barbershops where men in our community can benefit from our programs.
Sure. But why just men? Is it hard to get men out? Men really don't want to screen? They don't want to know about their health situations? Why men and not women?
That is an excellent question, Dr. Bob. So men, because hypertension is the #1 killer of black men. And when you look at certain cancers, like prostate cancer and colon cancer, men are disproportionately impacted. So we're really trying to reach the highest risk groups, in addition to the fact that men often are not represented in primary healthcare settings. And so we're trying to reach them where they are, churches and barbershops.
So what organization is doing this?
So New York University School of Medicine is one organization, and we're partnering with St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital. And Marion Scott, who is one of our terrific partners, has really been wonderful in helping us to reach various organizations. And so we're really trying to reach out to churches and barbershops in the Bronx.
And where are some of the places that we're going to be next? I mean, is something coming up next week? Or
yes, and so on this Saturday, we're going to be at Harlem Masters Barbershop in Harlem, 124th and 7th. We'll be there from around 10 o'clock, probably until about 4 o'clock.
And how's that going to look? I'm going to come in, I'm going to get a haircut, pedicure?
Excellent question. And so
my nails done.
yes, and so you come in for a.
You can do all of that then?
Well, so you know, these days barbershops you can get you can get lots of different services.
That's right.
But when you come in for a haircut, if you're 50 and older, and if you have high blood pressure and need a colonoscopy, you're eligible for our program. And if you decide to participate, you actually get a free haircut. And so you should definitely come out to Harlan Masters and see if we can pay for your haircut.
But can you do all of that right in the barbershop? Get a colonoscopy and your blood pressure checked and all that stuff?
So that is a great question. So we will check your blood pressure, and we will actually refer you to where you can get a colonoscopy for where you can afford. We don't actually do the colonoscopy in the shop. So that's a great question.
How important is a colonoscopy? Because, you know, a lot of men see it as a, yeah, this is an invasion here. What's going on here? This is an intrusion. You know, I don't want anything going in that direction. What's happening?
So
how can you comfort men to want to go in and get that checked? And who should check?
That's right. So men who are 50 and older should definitely get screened for colon cancer. And the best way to do that is with a colonoscopy. A colonoscopy is basically a procedure with a very thin camera that goes basically into the colon, where we can look for precancerous lesions called polyps.
Polyps.
If we can identify polyps, we can really prevent the development of colon cancer.
And polyps are not necessarily cancerous.
Excellent. Yes. So polyps are generally not cancer. Polyps are really a blessing in disguise, because if we find them, we can take them out and really prevent the development of cancer. So it's absolutely critical to get screened, because it's one of the few cancers we can actually prevent.
Yes. Doctor, thank you so much. Dr. Joseph Ravenell. All right.
Dr. Lee.
Hypertension specialist, New York University Medical Center?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've got to take a quick break right here, but stick around, because up next, we'll get the scoop on the spring fashion trends as we welcome back stylist and editor Tyron Mays. He's coming up next right here on Open.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.